An HIV vaccine trial, which began in the country in 2016, has been discontinued. Now, the study, informally known as Uhambo, had more than 5,000 participants at 14 sites across the country. They had to be sexually active men and women between the ages of 18 and 35. The trial was stopped after it failed to yield the expected results. Well, Jeremy is going to find out more about what happened.
It's a serious issue because it was, as you rightly point out, Coceka, a massive study. 5,000 participants, 14 sites across the country. We're joined now from the South African National AIDS Council by Coceka Nogoduka. Welcome, and thank you very much for talking to us tonight. This trial was scheduled to stop in 2021, so it's a year early. Has the plug been pulled too early?
Hi, Jeremy. Thank you very much for inviting us to come and talk to you. The trial has not been pulled too early. Across the timelines of the trial, we normally take stock in terms of tracking the data because the participants would come in at different timelines to test for HIV and to look if they are doing well on the vaccine, but also to test their immune system to see that the vaccine is working. So unfortunately, at this time of the data evaluation, we got an indication that the vaccine was not protective. So we had a high HIV incidence or new infections, both in the vaccine arm as well as in the placebo arm.
So in other words, there was little difference between the two?
There was little difference between the two. They were both HIV infected while on the trial.
So it's with, I imagine, a degree of sadness then that you accept the bona fides of the decision to pull back from this. But how big a setback is this then in this urgent fight in South Africa against HIV/AIDS?
It is a setback. We are saddened by the news as South Africa, and these news are coming at the time that as South Africa we've just done a review of our HIV status as a country in terms of the midterm review of the NSP, and we found that we still have 222,000 new infections every year in the country, and it's a high number. And the trial also gave us an indication that really there is high HIV incidence in the country despite the prevention efforts, because participants of the trial were given HIV prevention messages and condoms, and they were screened for STIs during the time of the trial.
So you're chipping away at this almost intractable problem in South Africa, yet 220,000 new infections every year indicates that the fight is far from over, if it's even begun.
For us, in terms of research for an HIV vaccine, we need a vaccine that will be 100% protective. We don't want a partial protection, we want a full protection. So this vaccine has shown that it does not have a protective measure for HIV infection. And there are two other trials that are currently going on, also on phase 2. So this one has failed. We've got two others that are going, that are due to be completed in 2022. We'll see there might be opportunities for the HIV vaccine.
And what is the early data from that telling you, or is it too early to make any sort of discernible analysis?
It's a bit too early because they started after this vaccine, but they are also on phase 2. This one was on phase 3 trial. But in terms of HIV prevention research, we've got research around vaginal rings, we've got research around injectable antiretrovirals. So we are hoping that those research interventions will also yield some results while we're waiting for the vaccine. It has taken us this long, it's more than 30 years. We've been trying to get a vaccine, but we are not getting any luck across the globe.
It's taken 30 years in terms of this particular trial. It's also cost something in the region of $104 million US, as we said at the beginning. This was a very big and comprehensive study. Have you learnt anything from this, or was it a complete waste of time?
We've learned quite a lot. We've learned that we still need to look into the vaccine. It is an important contribution into the HIV prevention space. The money is a lot, but when you look at what the vaccine would yield in terms of prevention, and you look at the HIV prevalence, especially in South Africa, we still have to invest in developing a vaccine. It's the only hope that we have that will be 100% effective in terms of preventing HIV. We've got HIV prevention commodities. behavior change of people is not taking us far. We're still having high infections, so we're still focusing on developing a vaccine. We still want to put resources on the side to make sure that we are able to develop an HIV vaccine across the globe.
Do you believe the answer will eventually come from this country?
Even this one, though it was the vaccine trial site was in South Africa, it was a collaboration of researchers across the globe. But we have our 2 scientists in South Africa, which are women, which are leading the HIV prevention programming for women. That is, we all know that HIV is gender focused, so you want a HIV prevention intervention that is going to be women driven. So it's a collaboration of researchers across the globe. Other sites are also across the globe of a vaccine. So it's a collaboration. It won't only be coming out of South Africa, to say.